and welcome back. Now we are going with the second video and lecture of the motor starting, and we like that for this kind of analysis here we'll like to reduce a little bit the transformer here, and we'll perform the so-called dynamic motor starting instead of static motor starting. So we'll try to reduce this transformer here and also this transformer here up to 2 megawatts each time. Don't forget to do the impedance update here the same as here. So now what is the difference between the dynamic motor starting and the static motor starting in ETAP? So when we did the motor starting here in the static one, we just have closed the switch here and the motor directly started, but it didn't have a load and we didn't have any equations and we didn't have any transient time, so we just switched on the generator and we saw a jump on the current and the lower of the voltage at the grid and at the busbar. So why if we run here dynamic motor starting, it will say for errors because there is no load model and no motor model. So remember from the university, we need to have an equivalent model of the motor. So for a motor to start, we and to for ETAP to be enabled to start the motor and to perform the calculation, it will need an equivalent model, uh, which is a model equivalent, for example, of inductance, impedance, and it needs to have the winding, for example, the stator resistance and the rotor resistance or inductance. So we go here in the motor and we go to the model and we go for the CQT, which means the circuit model. And we go to the library and you see that you have a single or double cage model. So this is for one winding and this is when you have for a double cage winding. So I will go to have a design class of um, high voltage here, and I will go for a small one, which is the low voltage 10 power two pole pairs, and we go okay. So you see that now we have a lot of loading data, short circuit data, characteristic data, and everything. We click update and you see that we have now equivalent model. So here we have, for example, the rotor, because we know that in order to represent an induction machine, we need to have some equations and we need to have some values. So those values, to be more simple, represent the stator winding and the rotor winding. The stator winding is characterized by the resistance of the friction, by the quadratic and direct axis, and the rotor is the rotor itself. It's represented by a huge resistance here and an inductance. So here is also the torque. So you see that when it is zero, it has this torque and this power factor, and it's increased. It reaches a maximum when it's the highest torque, and then it goes again. So this is how if you have this model estimation and tuning here, you can do also tuning if you want to check if the parameters are okay. And this is how is the curve of the torque of the rotor here. So it begins with a lot of power and it go down because it need to stabilize. But this model here, after we have created a model, this model, as we emphasized in the last lecture, this model needs to put the work into reality by moving a load, by moving a belt, or by moving a load somewhere. So we have to go to the load now, and we have to go to connect something to the torque. We can go to the load model library and we can go for whatever type of the load that you want. For example, you can choose it from here, or you can go polynomial here, and you can go, for example, it can be a pump. So let's try to have a pump, and this is how it will be the torque equation. So let's click OK now. So and go to click run. And before going to that, we'll still need to hide the current calculation. Before we need to go again to the study case, and we have increased here, for example, the simulation up to 50 seconds in order to see what is really happening, and we click OK. Now it's time to go for a static one and to wait for the simulation to happen, and it will ask how much time. So we can go up to 50 seconds, and you see that now we have reduced also the motor here, and it's, let's say, this is the voltage that is required. So we have a lower voltage here because it's being consumed, and we have a drop of voltage here, and some reactive power that is produced by the grid in order to compensate the reactive power losses during the motor start. Because the motor, when it starts, it consumes some reactive power to energize the rotor and the stator windings. So we go to the plots. If we have any previous plot, we need to deselect first, and we need to go for the new plots. So let's maximize it. And first we'll need to see, for example, what is happening at the external grid. So we need to go, for example, to the external grid and to see how much is the, or we can do it by the bus. So what is happening at the low, uh, at the high voltage bus bar here. We can plot the voltage. So you see now that it makes more sense to you. So you see that, yeah, we have a low voltage drop because the grid is too strong, and we have then a stabilizer here. If we go to the rotor now, we can see, for example, the sleep, or we can see the speed. So let's plot the speed first. As you see that it's increasing slowly, and we have a very nice motor wrapping here, and it goes to at least 26 seconds. It's go to its nominal speed, and here we can see the mechanical and electric power, and also the torque. We can combine those three, and we can see now that we have an intersection here. So this is the moment when it reaches the full speed, that it is at full power here. But make sure that you remove the speed here from the plot, because it will plot it again. And let's click plot. Now that we know the voltage, we can remove it in order to have a better zoom here, or also we can move the speed. And now you see that here is a mechanical. So the mechanical and electrical should be the same at the moment of time, and the torque will be at the maximum because it's moving the load. And this is exactly the blue line as we have configured here. If you check at the load one, so you see that it's perfect. And now this is all the parameters that have. This is how the motor is configured. This is done automatically, and you see that is the motor, the coupling gear, and the load. So um, in the model again, now we can change. For example, here we can change the poles, and we can make it more slower, for example, or much other. We can put for 8. So we'll go for 4 pole pairs, and it will have less rotation per minute. And also we can increase a little bit the size of the motor, and we can go up at least 0.8 kilowatt. We can select again here, click OK, and let's perform again a calculation by 50 seconds. Let's wait a little bit, and you see that it's other values. Now if you want to make a comparison here, we can hold the values of the previous simulations. ETAP will ask us to restore the lathes, so we say yes. So this is the torque, mechanical, and the load. So now we need to replot them again. And this is, look now how much faster it is compared to the last time that we had them. So it reached the speed very fast, and it has more powerful, so it reached immediately here at 4 seconds rather than it 24 seconds. So thanks a lot for your time. This is how we perform a dynamic motor starting, and see you to the next lecture. Thank you.